All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Mark Hutchinson here in the house from Falcon FX. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. Really excited to jump into it. Just wanted to say as well, I've been watching your channel for a while, and you've had some really great people on there. Watched a recent one with Technical Effects, which is good. Q as well, and ICT, like some really knowledgeable guys that have been in this game for a while. So thoroughly enjoyed jumping into that while I'm on a walk or on the treadmill and listening. So awesome channel.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you very much. And guys, if you do want to check out Mark's interview, we have got a link below this video here. So click on that. It is epic. Absolutely epic. This is one of the top interviews that I've done, not from my point of view, but from what Mark's answers were. Now, we're going to jump into the chart and talk about some of the stuff that he went over in the interview, which was really going to need some detailed chart analysis. So let's jump into your chart and have a look at it.
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Hey folks, this episode is sponsored by City Traders Imperium. Now, what you might not know is CTI has the best funded account conditions up to $2 million, which is the most in the industry. Now, go check out the video I recorded with them to learn more about their incredible package where Trading Nut listeners get an exclusive deal. It includes access to their high-performance trader mastermind and funding program. What are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below or above and go check out that video.
As you can see, guys, so I've got a dollar CAD up here, and just to kind of cross-reference what I was talking about earlier about those kind of high-value areas and the epitome of what we do. So let me just go raw price and then take a look at what we focus on. So essentially see it like this. We focus on impulse correction. So essentially impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave. Now, these type of formations, they then turn into reversals and continuations. So to give an example of that, what I'm talking about is our holistic view on a chart is this. So I'm sure we could all agree. You can see that's an impulsive leg, that's a corrective leg, that's an impulsive leg, right? So we was focusing on this particular trade for that exact reason. Now, that structure itself, and this is a great little tool, by the way. So for those that don't use it, bars pattern. So you can find that on TradingView, and you can essentially just copy the chart. So if we look at that as a reversal, you can find the correlation of lots of these. So you can go 1 hour, 15 minute, 4 hour, you name it, and you're going to find this channel. That does not hold the same value as something that has structure to it. Right, so our view on patterns is that it's not about just an ascending channel or a double top. I mean, it's basic stuff that you can find online. It's where is it and what is it in conjunction to? So when we was looking at something like dollar CAD, let me just go to the 4 hour chart and we go back there, and then I'll show you a more recent one. But this was the prime one that really showed where we are in the structure. Let me just actually get that back there. So we are here. So on this bigger continuation, all right, we go 4 hour. So this big consolidation, this is where most people are getting bored, Cam. Most people are getting bored. Now what we had is this long channel that we saw correcting. Then after this wave, we knew it was a very high chance if you just used a simple measuring tool, just literally measure the impulse. You have a very good idea from the top of the pattern and from the bottom of the pattern where that target's going to be and where you're going to end up. Now, within the midst of all of that, you're going to have structures. So I'll just put a typical kind of support resistance in. People are not looking at the structures and the patterns, so they don't really know what they're focusing on, right? So as we start to play that out, and then we go to the daily chart, you can see, what does that look like there? We've got huge impulse down, big corrective structure that's taking its time, and then we can measure from the top of the pattern here, and then we can put a rough idea. Where does that line up? It kind of lines up at that low. So if we just pop that on like so, I've then got a very good idea of my target is that if I'm selling that, where am I looking to get out? Well, I'm looking to get out as a minimum to that low, and then around these areas is where it gets a bit messy. So it doesn't technically have to go to this low, but this low it will.
Hey, want to trade crypto and gold like the institutions? Well, you can, and it's free for 14 days with Sage Strategies, fully automated trading strategies. Check out their live track records for 25 unique strategies, plus they host everything for you, which is perfect for beginners to advanced traders or investors. Simply sign up for their 14-day free trial today to experience it for yourself.
So we just start to play that out. There we go. So now we've actually broken this structure. What typically happens? So if I just remove all of this and you see it for what it is, we broke just above the structure. So what you'll find is, this is what I call mass psychology. People are getting caught on the wrong side of the market, and it tends to happen at these areas of resistance, quote unquote, or support, etc. They're getting caught on the wrong side of the market. So what we do, in accordance to what I just showed you, is that we identify these structures there to give us an edge in the market to be able to capitalize. A nice little note here as well is that when you see a structure like this break impulsively, so you got to see just decent momentum, there's a 90% chance it will hit that low. Why is that important? Well, if you're trading on the lower time frames here, let's say 4 hour, 1 hour, 15, what's your confidence going to be like when you know there's a 90% probability that's going to play out? Well, you know the direction, you know the structure, because you've seen these play out. Now let's go in a little bit more depth here. So I said earlier, Cam, about that structures and ascending channel, it might look like something else, but some of them are different. This is what I mean by that. So as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, right? Within this structure, it's the same thing on a smaller degree. So you can see that that is an ascending channel. And within that, you've got equal spacing, 1, 2, 3. You can see this is what we identify as the middle section. So how these patterns complete is that they will have variations within them. So you'll see essentially a 1, a 2, and a 3, right? This kind of derives from more of the Elliott wave side of things, but not so much about counting the waves. But it's very, very different if we had price action, let's say like this, that you could say, well, Mark, that's exactly the same as that. That's just, let's say, one that's a bit wider and has more depth. However, that's noise and that's nonsense. And, if you're going to start selling that, tagged in, tagged out, tagged in, when's it going to end? How do you know? You can't call that, right? You have to wait for commitment, where what we can do is say, I accept that. But in these areas, what we're going to see is reoccurring themes of 3-touch structures with the right identification where we can get in. So then we get in here, then we get another continuation, then we get another continuation. What we do is that we don't have price lines going through the chart. People ask us, do you trade trend lines? It's like, no, we don't trade trend lines. We're using them as a guide to the structure that we're already seeing. It's got the trend lines have very little weight. Like, no one's sitting there thinking, right, your trend line is that. That's not how that works. But what we can see is what I went over earlier, right? Impulse, correction, continuation. How many can we see? 1, 2, 3. We're already in that run. So you see how I've built my idea up from here. This impulsive wave gave me we was waiting for this for a very, very long time, right? And then it carried on pulling down. So we just played that out. We get something, what we call a running channel in there, right? So most people won't really know that pattern, but as you can see, if we zoom in, what can we see? The correlation, correction. And there's so many variations within here of entry points here as well. And then we carry on going. Now we have to understand, the further we get into the run for, let's say, this area, like so, that is where we're going to likely keep trailing our stops. So, when I said about earlier, we use structure. I'm using that structure. So let's say I entered in here, stops there. I enter here, stops there. I entered here, stops there. So I'm using the structural corrective points to then trail my stop, rather than going, what about this support? So people are closing their trades already. But why? This pattern holds way more weight than this random support that you've put in. I'm not saying support doesn't work. I'm not saying these things don't work. But in terms of how we look at it, we have tested over 30 years of data that those minor areas, they're not important. And what will always override that is these bigger structures that started here. Right? This idea that's happening has got nothing to do with this correction. It's this momentum then accumulating for the next wave. So then we use that to our advantage. And like I said, really simple with our targets. We don't really have much on the charts. We can then go, okay, so we can trail that down. Well, let's play that out further.
Hey, have you ever wondered what broker I use? Well, I use these guys, Hanko Trade. Look, it was a no-brainer because I was looking for a broker with really good trading conditions and one that had no restrictions on trading my strategies. But the main reason I went with Hanko Trade was their raw ECN spread. Look, it will challenge any broker that you're trading with. If you want to find out more, check out hankotrade.com, or there is a link in the description.
We get closer and we're likely going to break the low, get people caught on the wrong side, and then we start to reverse. So this is at a point where that starts to happen. There you go. So what you're going to find, if you're a new trader right now, or even intermediate, whatever it is, go and find all the major lows and the highs. What you'll find is price just breaks above, gets people caught on the wrong side of the market, and then it steps in. So then why is that important to you? Well, you're now not going to have FOMO. Let's say you're seeing something as just a double bottom, and then we've all seen it where price gets very, very close to, let's say, this sort of area, and you're waiting there. You're thinking, right, this is my area of demand or supply, whatever it is you call it, and I'm going to get involved, and it doesn't quite get there, and it starts to move, and you're like, hold on a minute. Do I need to get involved in the chart now? Because what if it goes up here without me? Then what happens? You get involved in an average position that wasn't part of your plan. You're tagged in. Then it comes down. What does it do? Breaks the low, gets you caught on the wrong side, and then it goes. Right. This is like clockwork. So what I would highly advise, which is why I said earlier, find these areas of value. Right. We're not looking at, right, this is a minor one here, and then there's a low there. We're not interested in that. We're looking at the major areas as where we are likely for people to get out of their sell positions, right, and then get into their next positions. Then what's going to happen? The real funds are going to step into the market. So if we just get out of that right now, Cam. So as you can see there, if we just measure that impulse right from the top, like so, that would be the longer target, which can take a long time to play out. But all it has to hit is what we call the 90% rule, which we cleared that and beyond. And then we started, what happened? We started a very, very deep corrective cycle. And then we was looking for the same thing here. So if we just put simple ray line, like so, price comes all the way back up. It starts to break above this high. So this was the previous high when we sold off. What do? We break above. This is where you see mostly the manipulation, etc. And then we step into the market for the big wave. So it's just very, very simple in that sense.
Oh, awesome stuff. Look, this is brilliant. And guys, it's probably something you're going to need to spend a lot of time trying to master. And if you do want some insights into that, I'll tell you what, go and check out the interview that we shot just before this, which is going to answer a lot of those questions for you. So, Mark, thank you very much for sharing that with us. What's the best way for the guys to get hold of you?
Just honestly, through IG, you can check out our page, Falcon Effects, or my page, Hutchinson Mark, or just type us in on YouTube, Falcon Effects. You're going to see a ton of videos there, a lot of free value that you can get an idea of how we trade. And if you resonate with that, then perfect. There's lots of great people out there that are trading different styles. But yeah, our style is very pattern identification, structure, and being in line with where the real momentum's coming in the markets and using those patterns holistically as an edge for us. So yeah, thanks for having me on, Cam. Really appreciate it. And like I said, some really great people on the channel. Really enjoyed watching your channel grow as well. Really, really nice.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks for being a fan, and thanks for coming on again. And guys, do remember, check out the podcast that we did before this. Really awesome stuff up there. Top 1, 2, or 3 of the Trading Nut shows. You got to go and listen to it. And guys, do remember, hit subscribe, hit like, hit the notifications bell, and click all to get notified of future videos like this going forward. See you in the next one.